president, scolded the media, stop calling it a travel ban, this executive order. That's not what it is, you fake news people. And then President Trump this morning says what we've known all along, Sebastian. It is a ban. He likes that it's a ban. He likes the original ban. And that's what he wants everybody to know. Why play the games?
There are no games. The president can call it whatever he likes because he has the constitutional authority to control whoever comes into this country, Chris.
And why wasn't the administration just honest about it all along? Why have Sean Spicer and you and everybody else say it's not a ban, it's just vetting, and you're trying to make it sound like something it isn't? The president just proved what the truth is. All this has been spin and a distraction. Why?
I'm not going to fall into the trap of us being the spinmeisters when CNN is one of the greatest purveyors of fake news. The fact is, it's been the same since the beginning. From the first EO to the second EO, it's one thing, Chris. It's about protecting Americans. And if anybody out there has a problem with us trying to keep Americans safe, then they need to look in the mirror and they need to ask themselves whether they are the purveyors of fake news.
Sebastian played games about it and said it's not a ban. I could play you Sean Spicer right now, but you know it's true. And then the president decides to be honest about it this morning. That is spin. You are the purveyor of spin because that was your message, that it wasn't a ban and it was untrue. That's why I'm asking you.
So I guess President Obama was also a purveyor of spin with that calculation, because the executive order is based upon the Obama White House analysis of the 7 nations of greatest concern for immigration into America. Well, is he a purveyor of spin, Chris?
Well, that's an interesting question. And while I get away from President Trump and his policy as quickly as possible and go to the bromide of blame Obama for everything, but if you look at that executive order, I'm sure you would, and eloquently so. However, the facts are not your friend here, because that move about targeting Muslims and keeping them out and allowing those who are not Muslim a carve-out to come in. Very different.
Let's do a little bit of a 101. Let's do a little Trivial Pursuit. What is the most populous Muslim nation in the world, Chris?
You tell me. These are your answers.
No, you tell me. What is the biggest Muslim nation in the world?
No, you tell me.
Massive population.
I want to give you the opportunity to lay it out. Go ahead.
If you don't know, it's Indonesia.
Go ahead.
It's Indonesia.
Right.
I will assume you know nothing. What's the largest Arab nation in the world?
You tell me.
Egypt. Okay? So if this had anything, and I mean anything, to do with race or religion, why would those 2 nations, the most populous Muslim nation and the most populous Arab nation, not be included on the executive order? Explain that logic to me, because this is where your spin fails. Where the fake news propaganda collapses, because if we had some dark, dread, ulterior motive, then those are the 2 first nations you would put on the list, not the 7 nations that the Obama White House identified as greatest concern.
Well, I see that you're a little slow to want to own that.
No, I'm still waiting for you to answer why we didn't include Indonesia and Egypt.
I explain it by you wanting to go with the original model to make it easier to pass, because you were mimicking what Obama did, and therefore masking your true intention was to not make it about travel, make it about Muslims. And as you well know, not just in your own rhetoric, but the president's, he has said time and again that he thinks there's a problem with Islam, and that he thinks that Muslims may have a problem with us. And as you know, with what we're seeing in the UK right now, attachments to the community of Muslims is so important, and the concern is that a move this trumpeted by the president in the midst of crisis in the UK sends an ugly message to our Muslim community here in the United States.
Well, unfortunately, what you've just spun is classic fake news.
What is fake about what I said? What is factually inaccurate?
There are no facts there. You are saying we used an Obama-era analysis.
No, you used his executive order. You duped the same countries.
To cloak our intention.
Right.
Can you give me one piece of evidence for that?
Yes, the language. You picked the same countries. Was that a coincidence? No,
because that's what government does.
Okay, so there's your first fact. You picked the same countries. That's a fact.
What is your proof that we had another intent? Give me just one piece of proof.
The language from the president, the same thing that district courts have seized upon, was that he clearly wants to keep Muslims out of the country, right or wrong. The people voted for Donald Trump in part on that issue, but his intention is clear.
So that must be the intention of the Obama order as well. To keep
Again,
Muslims out
the
of the nation.
language is obviously different, which is why it wasn't challenged in the courts the same way. It was about who is traveling in and out of there and the potential
again,
for those governments to let or even harbor bad guys.
Your selective choice of fact is really quite telling, because you do know that we did this with Iraq under the Obama administration, and the administration didn't even tell anybody. Why is that?
I don't know